Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are going to get into one of the most famous opening lines in all of literature.
Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis.
Right. And most people just remember the big, shocking premise. Gregor Samsa, a traveling salesman, wakes up one morning, and he's a monstrous bug.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The physical transformation is kind of the bait. If you only focus on the bug, you miss what the story is actually about.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to uncover what the sources tell us about the psychological and financial horror that was Gregor's life before he ever changed.
Exactly. We're asking, was Gregor Samsa already treated like a piece of vermin? You know, just a disposable resource long before he woke up with that armor-like back.
We're looking past the insect to see the exploitation, the burnout, and the crushing reality of conditional love that really defined his whole existence.
And it will unpack how the family dynamic was entirely transactional. The physical change, when you look at it that way, it wasn't the tragedy itself. It was just the outward sign of a dehumanization that was already complete.
Okay, so let's start right where Gregor does. In bed, on the morning it happens, he's already just gripped by pure career exhaustion. He's a traveling salesman, and Kafka gives us these really grueling details of his life.
And the details are so important because they're so mundane, but so damaging. He's worrying about making train connections, bad and irregular food.
Oh, the food. Yeah.
Contact with different people all the time so that you can never get to know anyone or become friendly with them. He basically calls his life a curse.
The lack of friendship, that really gets me. It shows his isolation. It's not just that the work is hard, it's that he's completely alone in it. Just a cog, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A cog living by a train timetable. It's the ultimate picture of industrial alienation. And that's why his biggest fantasy, his one wish, is to just march in and tell his boss just what I think.
But he can't. He is completely trapped.
So what's the trap? I mean, it's not just the job, is it? It's the family's debt.
Right. He says it so clearly. He would have quit a long time ago if he didn't have his parents to think about. His whole life is just this sentence.
Another 5 or 6 years of this misery. That's
Well,
his entire future.
And think about what that sacrifice does to him as a person. His mother later says he never goes out in the evenings.
He just reads the paper or studies timetables. His only hobby, his only relaxation is working with his fret saw.
Which is, again, a totally solitary activity. He
Yeah.
has no life. He only has utility.
And that's the key, that distinction between utility and affection. The sources are so clear on this. At first, when he gets the promotion, almost overnight, he brings cash home to his astonished and delighted family.
Right, so there was warmth initially.
There was. But it curdles. Kafka drops this tiny, just devastating line in later. He says the family just took the money with gratitude, and he was glad to provide it, although there was no longer much warm affection given in return.
So it became a transaction.
Completely. He went from being a son to being an income stream.
Which brings us right to the crisis. Gregor can't get out of bed, and the family's reaction is just immediate panic.
But it's not panic for him, for his health.
No, it's panic that the income stream has been disrupted.
And the proof is that the chief clerk shows up at 7:10 a.m. I mean, 7:10 in the morning.
That detail says everything about the company culture, right? Just pure paranoia.
Total suspicion. And when the mother tries to defend Gregor, how does she do it? She doesn't say he's a good son. She says he only ever thinks about the business.
She frames his entire value in terms of his job.
And the chief clerk just cuts right through it. He basically says the boss suggested a reason for Gregor's absence, and it had to do with the money that was recently entrusted to you.
So his personal crisis is immediately reframed as, what, an embezzlement threat?
His value is instantly reduced to the firm's missing assets. It's brutal. But this is where we have to pause, because there's this huge reveal that comes later.
After the transformation, when everything's out in the open.
Yes, the father is forced to explain their actual financial situation.
And it turns out they weren't about to be thrown out on the street. They had savings.
Not just savings. The source says it was money from the old days that had not been touched. And some interest had accumulated. And on top of that,
There's more.
yes, the family had also been saving some of the surplus money from Gregor's wages all along.
Wait a minute. So the debt that kept him chained to that job?
It wasn't as urgent as he was led to believe. His tireless work was, in part, unnecessary.
That is just, it's psychologically cruel.
It is. They were financially prepared for an emergency. But the emergency they planned for was losing their money, not losing their son.
So his suffering wasn't some noble necessity. It was, what, a buffer? A way for them to build up their comfort at his expense.
It tells you everything you need to know about how they saw him before the change. If you're willing to let your son endure that kind of misery just to pad your savings,
Then he's already just an object to you,
Oh.
an economic tool.
a vermin in their financial architecture, yeah.
Speaking of architecture, let's talk about the father's transformation. It's incredible. When Gregor was working, his dad was entombed in his bed, old and weak.
Just a total burden. But the contrast is shocking. The second Gregor can't work, his father is galvanized.
He's suddenly standing up straight enough, and Kafka gives us this amazing detail.
The uniform.
This smart blue uniform with gold buttons. He looks fresh and alert.
The uniform is everything. The father goes from being this passive dependent to an active authoritarian figure. He's taking back control.
It's a complete role reversal, and it's powered by Gregor's downfall.
And this newly energized father, what's the first thing he does? He unleashes all this fury on his son. He grabs the chief clerk's stick and a newspaper.
Objects from the outside world, from the world of work.
Right. And he drives Gregor back into his room, making these hissing noises, like he's driving away an animal.
Which all leads to the apple scene. It's probably the most famous part of the book, besides the opening line.
And for good reason. The father just starts bombarding him with apples without even taking the time for careful aim. It's just pure rage.
And one of them hits.
One of them hits squarely and lodged in his back. And the pain is described as surprising, the incredible pain. It literally nails him to the spot.
This isn't just a slap. This is a serious, debilitating injury. And how long does that apple stay there?
It stays lodged in Gregor's flesh for more than a month. So this wound becomes this constant, visible, festering symbol.
A symbol of his father's rejection.
His violent rejection. But Kafka adds this one last, just ice-cold detail. He says the wound was only serious enough to remind even his father that Gregor was a family member who could not be treated as an enemy.
So it took a life-threatening, festering wound that the father himself inflicted.
Just to get them back to a baseline of, what, non-aggression, not affection, just a reminder that they probably shouldn't actively try to kill him. It's horrifying.
So from there, we move into the final stretch. And the slow decay of care is really seen through his sister, Greet.
At first, she's the only one who shows any compassion. She brings him food. She tries to clear out his room for him.
But you can see that compassion is just another kind of labor, and it starts to wear her down, just like Gregor's job wore him down.
Exactly. She starts sweeping away his food, indifferent as to whether it had been eaten or had been left totally untouched.
She insists that cleaning his room is her job and her job only, but she starts doing it badly, leaving smears of dirt and little balls of dust.
It's passive-aggressive rejection. She's performing the service, but showing her revulsion through negligence.
And that quiet exhaustion eventually boils over into open hostility. She makes this definitive statement to her parents.
It's the final verdict. She just says, we have to try and get rid of it. You've got to get rid of the idea that that's Gregor.
She just erases him. The Gregor they knew, the one who provided for them, is gone. This thing in the room is just an animal, an obstruction.
And then she gives them the moral justification. She says, if it were Gregor, he would have seen long ago that it's not possible for human beings to live with an animal like that, and he would have gone of his own free will.
She is literally demanding that he perform one last act of self-sacrifice for the family's convenience.
He needs to disappear. And the tragic irony is, he agrees. He overhears all of this. He was feeling rage about being neglected, but hearing her say that.
He feels that he must go away even more strongly than his sister. He completely internalizes their verdict. He accepts that he's worthless.
And he dies that night. And the family's reaction isn't grief, it's relief. The father literally says, let's give thanks to God for that.
The problem has solved itself. The vermin is gone.
And they immediately write letters of excuse from work, go for a walk in the sun, and start thinking about their future.
A future that is suddenly much brighter. In the final paragraph, it's just the ultimate statement on their priorities. They look at Greet.
Who's now blossoming into a well-built and beautiful young lady.
Ready for a husband.
Exactly. The old source of income is gone, so they're already sizing up a new one. A strategic marriage. The cycle of exploitation is ready to begin all over again.
Okay, so let's try to tie this all together. We started this by saying we wanted to look past the physical bug. And I think we found that Gregor's real tragedy, it wasn't the day he woke up as an insect.
No. It was the years he spent as a son and an employee, valued only for the money he could generate.
The transformation just made it literal. It externalized the vermin status he already held inside their family's discussion.
A disposable resource. The family's panic, their violence, their rejection. It all proves they were only ever invested in the comfort his labor provided, not in the person providing it.
And the book ends with the family feeling this immense relief. They're looking toward a brighter, smaller, more practical future now that their burden Gregor is gone.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Does that final moment of shared hope and sunlit freedom, does it, in a way, validate their act of total rejection? If getting rid of a human burden brings relief and prosperity, what is Kafka suggesting about society's preference for convenience over humanity?